going on, guys? Matt with Motorworks here, and in today's video we got this BMW G310 that won't start. It's making all kinds of funky noises, so we're going to find out what's going on and what parts we need to order in this video. The first place I'm going to look is behind this cover here. This is the stator side of the bike here. You got your stator wire coming out here. So we're going to pull this cover off and look behind it. And the way to do that is we'll remove the belly pan, and then we'll take out these screws that go the whole way around the stator cover. I'm going to do that, put some cool music to it, then we'll see what's going on behind it. Alrighty guys, so I was able to take this all apart, and as you can see there's still oil in the bike because the oil is lower than this cover is. But if you're going to let this bike sit a while or sit on its side stand, I would drain the oil, because as soon as you put this on its side stand, oil is going to leak out of here. Just a word of caution. But since I'm probably going to button this back up after I order the parts, I'm not too worried about it. But if you're working on this at home, just a word of caution, drain that oil out of there. All right, we now took that cover off, and we have the bolts here. They're all the same length. The only thing that might be an issue with these bolts is they might be torque to yield bolts, or what we call stretch bolts. So you might have to replace these because they stretch to torque themselves. So just a word of caution there. But they are all the same length, so I wasn't worried about for reassembly. You can just put those in a pile and keep them together. I just left all the bolts in the chain guard here. I had to take that off. It's just the guard that covers this front sprocket. And then I just have the cover itself just tied up to the back of the bike because I don't need to take any of that apart, so I didn't bother doing any of that. Alright, I don't know if you saw it in the video, but this little piece fell off when I was taking the cover off. That's common. Sometimes these gears will fall off, but it's not uncommon to have that happen. And I'll just show you where this little piece goes. I believe it's just a breather attachment for a crankcase ventilation. If you look here, there's a little recessed groove here in this cutout on the engine. And if you look at this, it's got a little nub there. I don't know what you want to call it. Locating tab, I guess, right there. So we'll just line up that locating tab with the little cutout here. So there you go. See where that little nub lines up there on the bottom. And that just sits all around. Again, like I said, it's just a breather. Sits somewhere right here. And it goes to this hose right there on the outside. So that's how you hook it up if it falls off when you're doing this job. I believe the issue is behind the magneto here on the starter clutch. We're going to check that here in a second. The first thing I have to do is remove this gear, and the way I do that is just pull this locating pin out, and notice it is the same on both sides. So I mean, I'll put it down the way it goes in, but I need to remove this pin and this sprocket here. Take that gasket out of my way, I don't need that. It's a little difficult with one hand, but I can make it work. Alright, so I removed this sprocket here. I just put, like I said, that pin in there so I know where it goes. Alrighty, so what I think the problem is, guys, get this gasket out of the way, is there's a one-way bearing on this tooth gear right here. Now this should spin one way freely, and it should not spin freely in the other direction. Hence the one-way bearing means it should only spin one way. So the way we can test that simply is to spin it one way and see if it spins freely, which it does, and then spin it the opposite way. Now it should catch just like it's doing there, so we'll keep trying it in a couple different spots and see if we can get it to knot. And look, yeah, so every once in a while it does or it doesn't spin. So that's why sometimes it catches and other times it makes a horrible noise. Alright, so now I know that that one-way bearing is shot, because I shouldn't be able to sometimes spin it and sometimes not spin it. So that means this bearing's bad. We're going to have to pull this off to gain access to this. We'll also have to remove, it looks like, this little plastic tab here that's holding pressure on that one-way bearing there. So that's what we're going to do now. Hopefully the tool I have works. If it doesn't, then I guess that's going to be it for this video, but we'll see what happens. So I got to remove this nut here. And then I'll have to see if my special tool works on this here. So I'm going to remove that nut now. Well guys, looks like my tool isn't the right tool for the job. I'm going to have to order a tool to get that off, but that's what's going on. So if you have a bike that has the similar issue to this where it won't start, but it sounds like every once in a while it wants to try and start, chances are your starter clutch is bad. We're going to save actual starter clutch job for another video when I get the tool. And when I get the tool, I'll attach a link to what the tool is and where you can get it as well. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for checking it out. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, leave a thumbs up. As always, I like to hear from you, so drop a comment below if you have something to say. We'll see you in the next video, and hopefully we can get this thing squared away. Thanks for checking it out, guys.